Okay, the question is CTL reduction drop is anticipated, planned if the athlete is transitioning to indoor trainer. So first I'll say I love getting questions from other coaches. This is really cool, so thank you. It's fun. And I actually got two questions about CTL dropping this round, so I'm going to cover this here and then a slight nuance to the other question later on. I'm not 100% clear on this question. Is there an anticipated drop or how do you plan for it? And I'm going to assume that it's how do you plan for it because yes, we do anticipate a drop with a transition to primarily indoor training. I've seen a lot of burned out athletes in March and April who have tried to maintain CTL or maintain volume on primarily indoor training. So the biggest reason for this drop is kind of the inherent flaw in the CTL model, which is that because TSS kind of overemphasizes volume, so too does all the downstream modeling, including CTL. So anytime there's a meaningful reduction in volume, we're going to see CTL drop in a commensurate way. So first of all, make sure it actually matters, and just in terms of timing for goal events. For a lot of people building into subsequent seasons, there needs to be a planned reduction in fitness as part of a break and a rebuild. So, consider timing for goal events, and, a CTL may be very much in line and even needed. So that's kind of the first question. If you determine that maintaining CTL is kind of important, and I would say you're not going to fully maintain it, but you're going to maintain some of it. You can mitigate some of that drop with other endurance activities. So this would be like a combination of indoor training plus, outdoor endurance activities like ski touring, hiking, snowshoeing, running, swimming. Because specificity is less important, we're assuming this time of year, if, goal events are kind of a ways away, we can let some of the specificity go and kind of maintain volume and kind of base aerobic conditioning with other activities. So you can maintain some of that. But, with the possible exception of ski touring, most of these are going to be in like shorter duration activities, lower volume, and therefore smaller TSS values, smaller CTL values. So you kind of going to have to learn to account for that within the model. And then also just to say, most folks who've come off a big season of cycling are going to have much better fitness than they do kind of the specific muscular conditioning for this stuff. So it's easy to get injured. So that just kind of warrants mentioning. And yeah, at this point, it really is kind of the job of the coach to understand what's going on, behind the scenes within the model in order to recognize what's an appropriate CTL drop. And that's going to vary athlete to athlete and, depending on timing, that kind of thing. But you would see a reduction in volume and a reduction in CTL, but you can maintain some with other activities, and despite the drop in the model, it's likely to be enough. Another way to come at this is doing a ton of tempo, sweet spot, sub-threshold work on the trainer, and incorporating a few kind of strategically timed trips to warmer climates to get the volume, because you can get a lot of muscular endurance on the trainer with those kind of sub-threshold workouts, and then get kind of more traditional volume if the athlete's able to get somewhere warmer to do that, and do kind of a big dose of volume and, kind of a CTL camp, so to speak. And again, that's up to the coach and the athlete to determine kind of what's a reasonable amount of volume in a camp like that. So kind of several options. I find this programming works really well for those of us that live in 4-season climates, and particularly if you have goals kind of June or later. It's tougher to hit A races before that, but I've certainly helped folks do it. It just means kind of a bigger emphasis on time on the trainer, and a larger requirement for bundling up to ride outside, traveling to warmer destinations, and so on. But in short, yes, there will be a reduction in CTL, and whether that matters, how much it matters, and how to mitigate some of that is kind of something that you would work out, but there's some kind of guidance on how to do it.